Everybody wonders what's he thinking during this stretch of losing. John, what was it? 3 wins in a 15-game span?
Yeah, 3-12.
Yeah, not good. And you pick up an overtime point here, you pick up an overtime point there. But people know Yzerman's competitive, that he didn't do anything at the deadline, and there was a belief that they were good enough, right? We got McDonald's at home. We don't need to stop at the store. We've got the goods here. We can call guys up. We've got the depth. Yeah, that didn't exactly play out. The team continued to submerge themselves below the cut line. Only now, after a win against Tampa, are they right on the line at 82 points. 1 point separates in versus out right now. There was a story, and I don't think this has really been picked up. This is one man, Bob Huff, longtime hockey writer. Mm-hmm. And he's bounced around. He's currently writing with Detroit Hockey Now. And he has 2 different sources inside what's going on in the brain of Steve Yzerman. He even says, take it with a grain of salt, but this is what he's hearing. According to the source, Yzerman might be considering a change with his coach in the offseason if the Wings were to continue their free fall out of the Stanley Cup playoff position. And if he takes that route, the man at the top of the list of desired candidates is believed to be Craig Berube, former St. Louis Blues coach, won a Stanley Cup, part of that crazy run that they had. They played Gloria at the arena, the whole thing. Another NHL source, different source, told Hockey Now on Friday, Yzerman read the riot act to his coaching staff and the players regarding their lackluster performance. They followed that up with the 3-2 shootout loss at Florida and then the win last night against Tampa. They played better in those games. They picked up points in those games. They ended the road trip in a better position. But we've wondered about Lalonde's future, and we've wondered about Yzerman's frustration level, and if he's calling players and coaches and going, you, this, that, and the other, this isn't good enough. It speaks to a competitive mindset, and it speaks to the guy who may make a change at head coach if things don't go well.
So then it begs the question, one, do you believe this? And I do. In regards to Yzerman reading the riot act and players responding, coach responding, in the instant reaction, and the easiest one, because we've seen it in hockey a number of times, is that the coach is the first to go. Now, here's the question. Is backing into the playoffs or eking into the playoffs enough to save his job and run it back another time? Or are you looking at that the way that the Wings have ended the season, and even if they make it, should that decision be based on 1 point, 2 points?
The how matters, right? Blowing a 9-point cushion matters. How do they get in? You said back their way in. We assume you're going to have to win games to get in, but we know nobody is winning games on the bubble. Right. Philly's lost five straight, and they're
Caps have lost 2.
Yeah, so the idea, and the Wings had lost 4 in a row before their win. You would think you have to win your way in. We've talked about winning 5 of the last 7 or 4 of the last 7. What if you only win 2 or 3 of the last 7? You have a losing record and you still get in. Yeah, the how matters. If they go 5-2 and get in, I do think there's something to be said for Lalonde righting the ship and the players stepping up. If they win 2 of the last 7 and get in by default and then quickly get knocked out in the playoffs, yeah, I think you can still talk about a change. And I think Yzerman would be well within his right to make one. Yeah, I mean, do you believe this? This isn't, in the free press of the Detroit News, but the name Bob Huff, it's a guy, if you follow hockey,
been around a long time.
Been covering the game a while, and he's got sources and people. This does check out with what we think of Steve Yzerman, that he is someone who is competitive, that wants this, that is unhappy with this. We're all unhappy with this.
Yeah, that would try and change the direction the team is going. I mean, and maybe he sat idly by for 14 of those games and said, I can't take it anymore. And then finally did something about it and was hoping that it would be Lalonde, hoping it would be Patrick Kane, DeBrincat, any of the guys that are supposed to be the quote-unquote leaders and experienced guys on this team, Dylan Larkin.
There's your Red Wing update. I want to know emotionally. Describe this. It's a race. It's a 1-point race. Describe the race in one word as a Red Wing fan. You watched last night. That's a big, massive win. Certainly adds a little more gas on the fire here. You got to get hot. Coming home for 3 games here. One word to describe this race. 248-539-9797. It's 97-1.